Hello guys, and welcome to part 15 of my Alonso career mode from the Japanese Grand Prix, where Alonso and Hamilton are separated by just 2 points in the fight for the Drivers' Championship.
Keeping a close eye on the constructors table. Every point the drivers can get is really important for the teams at this stage.
Yes, definitely. Every position you climb in the championship has a financial gain come the end of the season. So the difference between finishing third or fourth is well worth fighting for right up until the last race.
One of the more intimidating corners on any Formula One track is the legendary 130R. Whilst unusual, the name actually comes from the original design of the corner, a 130-metre radius turn starting just past the track crossover. Over the years, due to several severe accidents, the corner's been redesigned to create a straighter entry and creating what is now a double apex left-handed corner.
Despite the changes, this is still one of the most exhilarating corners that drivers in F1 have to take. It's not normally considered an overtaking spot, but this is the scene of one of Fernando Alonso's most famous manoeuvres, when in 2005 he passed Michael Schumacher's Ferrari around the outside.
And of course, as usual, we will retire from qualifying to start from 22nd on the grid.
Can only be secured by one driver, and the lucky gentleman goes by the name of Nico Rosberg this weekend. You wouldn't bet against the German driver pressing his Mercedes to victory today.
It really was a great performance from him yesterday, and I think he'll be feeling very confident that he can push on and win today's race. Unless he has car trouble or a bit of bad luck, he should be untouchable.
So what would you have been doing overnight if you were Lewis Hamilton to make up the time difference that he needs to make up based on yesterday's qualifying times?
He clearly has a pretty good balance in the car. He just needs to work out where he can squeeze an extra tenth or two to make up the difference.
So here we are for the start of the Japanese Grand Prix. We got 5 lights, lights out, and away we don't go. As usual, for the 15th time this season, we wait 10 seconds before we eventually set off ourselves to chase down the pack. And it looks as though we may already have our first replay of the race at turn 1, and it's the two McLarens who have formed some kind of unbreakable bond, and neither is willing to break it. So back down the field they go, and now at the start of lap 2 we're going to make our first overtake of the race, Kobayashi, and it looks as though we may have had another collision just ahead involving Maldonado, surprise surprise. But before we worry about him, we need to overtake the McLaren of Kevin Magnussen for P20, and it looks as though we get the move done, and now we're going to try and overtake Maldonado. We go up the inside, there's slight contact, and we go on the grass, and we can't get the move done, so we have to settle for P20 for the time being. And now we got a replay, and it looks as though it's a carbon copy of what happened between the two McLarens on the first lap, involving a Toro Rosso. Not sure which one it was exactly, but anyway, back to the action now, and we are going to make the move stick this time on Maldonado for P19. Next target is Jenson Button, who is actually overtaking the Caterham of Marcus Ericsson. We're approaching 130R, and we overtake both of them, and we overtake 2 other cars as well, one of them Jean-Eric Vergne. So just like that, we are to P15, which soon becomes P14 in the first sector of lap 3 as we overtake Max Chilton, and we're now attacking Jules Bianchi in the other Marussia for P13. Can we make the move stick at Degner 1? We go around the outside, go off the track slightly, but we make the move stick. And now Esteban Gutierrez through the spoon curve for P12. We make the move stick there as well, and now Romain Grosjean in the Lotus. It looks like we're going to make the move stick well before we get to 130R, so just the 3rd lap of the race and we've cleared half the field already. And now at the start of lap 5 with DRS, we will overtake Daniel Kvyat for P10 to move up into the points. And then a little later on, we're going to overtake Sergio Perez around the outside for P9. That is a terrific move from the Spaniard. And now, carrying great momentum through 130R, we're going to dive up the inside of Nico Hülkenberg for P8. And we've got a couple of cars, I think, making their first stops now, one of which is Nico Rosberg, so we move up to P6. I think the other driver was Bottas. And then the end of lap 8, a few more drivers make their first stops, which puts us up to P2 behind Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull. And then 1 lap later we make our first stop of the race, put on another set of option tyres. So where's this going to bring us out? It looks like we make out in P8 behind our teammate and arch nemesis from Hungary, Kimi Räikkönen, but it doesn't take us long to get the better of him, and we are back up to P7 now, which will soon become P6 I'm sure, because we're going past Ricciardo again before we get to 130R. And now lap 11 we're overtaking Felipe Massa for P5. Lovely move there, he puts up no fight at all until we get to Degner 1, but he can't get back past us. And now we set the fastest lap of the race. So we got great pace clearly in this Ferrari, and now we're overtaking Sebastian Vettel for P4 on lap 12. And we then set another fastest lap again. So we're really shifting now. But then at the end of lap 15 we got Marcus Ericsson being a prick as usual, refusing to let us through, being a twat, typical pay driver. Eventually he lets us through though. And then at the end of lap 16 Hamilton makes his second stop, so we briefly lead for a few laps, come in at the end of lap 19, or 18 rather, to put on a set of prime tyres. So where's this going to bring us out? P2, I think Nico Rosberg may have got into a bit of trouble in the middle stint. He may have potentially had to pit again, so that's why we came out quite a long way ahead of him. But as you may have seen there, we are 12 seconds behind Lewis, so it's clearly going to be a tall order for us to catch the Mercedes driver. But of course we will do our best to bridge the gap. And as you can see there at the end of lap 23 we were 7.8 seconds, so there is a chance. But then Kevin Magnussen parks it on the apex. We have to go through the gravel. That's cost us precious time. You absolute prick, Kev. But now we're on the last lap, and as you can see there, we were 3.8 seconds behind at the start lap. We got it down to 1.3, but just missed out in the end. We came up short, but still, it's going to be another fantastic result for Alonso, P2, but he does lose the lead in the championship once again. So confirmation of the result. We finished 1.6 seconds behind the race winner Lewis Hamilton, with Rosberg finishing 21 seconds behind us after making an extra stop. And as I said before, that does mean we lose the championship again, but we're still only 5 points behind now, and there are just 4 races to go. But anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for Russia.